Men talking about their mental health in memory of a much-loved friend.
And there may be large areas of cloud today, but tomorrow we'll see extensive sunshine, and that's also the case through the weekend. It's looking pretty warm.
A Southampton rap artist says his experience of going to prison for selling Class A drugs is behind his mission to normalise rap music. 25-year-old Junior Cleverly, whose stage name is Chimney, says the current state of drill music, which is a genre of rap, glamorises criminal behaviour. He says it influenced him.
Last winter, 237 children were admitted to Bristol Children's Hospital with the virus. 40% went on to develop complications such as pneumonia. Half of those admitted had previously been healthy and well, and 90% of them hadn't been vaccinated or were vaccinated too late.
It's a horrible illness for the child, and for some of them with underlying illnesses, a flu can cause very severe and life-threatening diseases. And we see them admitted to intensive care, and they needing lots of interventions, procedures, drains. So this could be avoided.
While many healthy children will recover from flu, being a nurse with 3 young children, Laura's not taking the risk.
I really don't want them getting sick. I don't want them getting the flu. As soon as someone's ill in our house, everything falls apart. So yeah, really important to us.
If it smells like chocolate.
And the NHS hopes enough children will get...
should be made to help prevent this happening. So we instantly changed some of the staffing in our department. So unfortunately, the night that Yusuf attended, they experienced a long wait for emergency care and assessment by a doctor. And while that was felt to be appropriate and would not have changed things, we recognise that's a difficult experience for families.
Yusuf's family question the independence of the report into his care and say it's missing vital details about his treatment. They're calling for a new investigation into the sad death of Yusuf. Mark Ansell, BBC Look North, Rotherham.
Now, the Transport Secretary, Mark Harper, has been in Bradford this morning, the day after Rishi Sunak confirmed that the northern leg of the HS2 high-speed rail line is to be scrapped. The Prime Minister said that every penny of the £36 million would be spent on new projects. But this morning, the Secretary of State was unable to give any more detail as to what any of these projects will get underway. Meanwhile, MPs, business leaders and passengers have been reacting to yesterday's major transport announcement. On BBC Breakfast this morning, West Yorkshire's Mayor Tracy Brabins said that the detail from the announcement is too vague.
We don't recognise the numbers, so the cost that has been allocated to that, is that for a new station, is that for new track, where does the new track go? So part of the problem, is there's no detail.
And join us on Look North tonight at 6:30. We will have more from the Transport Minister, Mark Harper, and find out how transport in our region will change, how the HS2, now the HS2 to Manchester has been axed. More details now, and a lorry hit a bridge on the Doncaster Road in the Ackworth area of Pontefract this morning. It happened shortly before 8 o'clock on the A638. West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue were called after reports that a man was trapped in his car after colliding with the lorry as it struck the bridge. Motorists in the area are being told to avoid it.
Are raising awareness about the danger of not wearing a helmet. It's illegal to not wear one on UK roads, but the family are in the process of setting up a charity to provide free helmets to those who need them. They hope it'll prevent others from going through the same ordeal they have. Emma Snow reports.
Loving, caring, yeah. Just basically everything you can think of as a person. It was just simply amazing.
Kyle Hooley was just 21 when he was involved in a motorbike accident in July. He wasn't wearing a helmet and died at the scene, and his mum and girlfriend are struggling to come to terms with what happened.
It's hard to describe, what he's left behind, because it's just so massive. A little boy, a family, brothers, sisters, a girlfriend.
Now, through social media platforms TikTok and Instagram, Kyle's family and friends are raising awareness of motorbike safety. They're also in the process of setting up a charity called Help for Helmets to provide free helmets to others.
As long as we can give out that free helmet and we know that we can have a chance to possibly save someone's life, it makes us feel so much better than watching somebody sadly pass away from a motorbike accident like Kyle did.
It's not just wearing a helmet that's important, but the Road Safety Trust says there's 2 other areas which should be considered.
First of all, do they have the experience and training to ride the bike that they're on? Because some of these machines are quite powerful, and that often leads to accidents and fatalities. The second thing I would ask them to consider is their clothing, to invest in really good clothing that will protect them.
My grandson's lost his dad. He's a year old, he's got to grow up never knowing his dad. But if we can stop somebody else having to go through that, it will be worth it.
They hope the charity they set up will create a lasting legacy in memory of Kyle, whilst also raising awareness of motorbike safety. Emma Snow, BBC's Midlands Today, Sneinton.
A funeral will take place today for a 100-year-old World War II veteran from Nottingham who took part in the D-Day landings. Ronald Cruxon was later awarded the Légion d'honneur medal for his service. He lived in the Woollerton area his whole life and wrote a book during lockdown about his memories. While members of the Royal British Legion say they want to make sure he gets the send-off that he deserves.
He's a veteran, and a very good veteran by the sounds of it. We can only go because nobody else was at Normandy, or, you know, nobody see what he went through, but you can imagine what he went through. And he deserves a good send-off.
Well, hopefully he does. Well, it's weather time now, and it's been quite cloudy so far.
Yeah.
Sunshine on the way.
Sunshine and warmth, some really nice autumn warmth on the way as we head towards the weekend. Some unseasonable above average temperatures. Now, first weather watcher pictures today. We do have this from yesterday's Brailsford ploughing match. So thank you for sending that in, Abbeydale. Do keep your pictures coming in. Now, things are staying cloudy, as Rich mentioned. We've got this cold front that's sitting to the north of us at the moment that stays with us through the rest of the day into early tomorrow. What that's doing is introducing the cloud and the rain, but it clears away and behind it high pressure builds in from the south, and that's going to give us the more settled conditions as we head towards the weekend. So although it's not a washout this afternoon, it's generally cloudy. You may just be lucky to see a few glimmers of sunshine. There will be some patchy light showers around. It does look like it may just turn heavier towards rush hour. Highs of 17, quite blustery out there as well, although there will be some drier spells through the night with some clear skies at times, quite a bit of cloud still, and further outbreaks of rain for all of us. Temperatures down to about 12 degrees Celsius, so quite a mild night for the time of the year. Now through Friday it's an improving picture. The front gradually tracks away, so we'll see that cloud breaking up, so increasing amounts of sunshine, not wall-to-wall sunshine, mind. Still some rain around first thing in the morning, but all of us should have a largely dry end to the day. The temperatures though, 21 degrees Celsius on Friday, and as we turn more to a southerly wind direction as we go into Saturday, we're expecting more in the way of sunshine. Highs of 23 degrees Celsius, and that fine settled spell is here to stay.
This looks pretty good. Lots of sunshine on that outlook there. Well, that's all for now. Anne and the team will be back with more updates at 6:30 this evening. Bye-bye.
Welcome to breakfast.
Thanks for joining us. Good morning to you.
Great to have you.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning, Johnny.
Hey there.
I'm so excited.
Right, let's go live.
Oh, Carol.
Good to see you this morning. It makes me laugh every single day.
Well, it's going to be a glorious day today.
Happy rush hour, everybody.
I'd just like to thank BBC Breakfast.
Start your day the BBC Breakfast way on BBC One and iPlayer.
Roll out the red carpet. Tonight, our couples will be bringing a touch of Hollywood to the Strictly Bull.
These players are part of the Gulab Cricket Academy. All girls, all from neighboring villages, and all heart. In rural communities, girls don't usually get these kinds of opportunities. They are the lucky ones, playing on a cricket pitch in the heart of farm country. Harsimrat Kaur has been on the team since it started 4 years ago. She plays with passion and dreams of making it big.
When we are playing a match, I feel like I am wearing a jersey for Team India. When I play, I feel only one thing, that I am not playing for India now, but I will play for India's cricket team someday.
There's a lot more happening here than just girls playing cricket. They're also breaking with tradition. They're building confidence both on and off the pitch, and they're also changing people's mindsets in terms of what girls can do. Gulab Singh Shergill wanted to be a professional cricketer, but lacked opportunity and resources. So he started this plucky little team, free of cost, to encourage these girls to dream beyond the boundaries of their rural communities.
Mostly in Indian villages, girls are not permitted to go outside their homes. Now we are also able to have matches between girls and boys. That makes them proud of themselves. Now they are able to tell their parents that I can do it.
For a few hours a day, they are free from societal pressures and able to just be kids. Samira Hussain, BBC News, Patiala.
And what a heartwarming story. Well, earlier I spoke to Samira from a cricket pitch in the village of Patiala in Punjab.
It is actually district tryouts for a cricket team in this area for girls. And right now behind me, you've got the under-16s that are trying out. And in fact, some of the girls that you saw in this package have already tried out for teams. And out of the 6 that came here for tryouts, 5 have already made the team. It's just a real demonstration of just how powerful the sport of cricket can be in small villages in Patiala here and elsewhere within the country.
Really, really lovely to hear and lovely to see. We're just seeing, as you stood there, Samira, some pictures of the young girls playing. And of course, we all know cricket runs deep in India. When it comes to the World Cup, is it going to be cricket mania?
Well, I think it's going to be cricket mania for a few reasons. One, cricket isn't just a game here. It's not just a sport. It's almost treated like a religion. The fans are quite exuberant when it comes to their teams. Now, there is of course, the big thing that India being the favorite to possibly win the World Cup this year. And even even one of the captains of the Indian cricket team was asked about this and decided to be demure about that kind of answer, not to jinx it. But what's important to note is that, yes, men's cricket is going to be here on the global stage, but women's cricket has really taken off in terms of mainstream interest. Earlier this year, India had created a women's professional league, and that has so much enthusiasm. And what it does also is shows girls that are trying out for these district teams now that it is possible to dream big.
Our correspondent Samira Hussain speaking to me a little earlier. Back to the UK now, where around 19,000 vulnerable children are at risk of being put into care because of a lack of support for financial support for their kinship carers. A report by the Kinship charity warns that a quarter of carers say they are at crisis point. Emma Glaspie has been speaking to one family about the challenges they face.
She's a wonderful little girl. She's a ray of sunshine. She really is a loving little girl. Wouldn't change her for the world. Here we go.
Ella came to live with her grandparents in Leeds when she was 10 months old. She's now 6. Ella has a rare condition called charge syndrome. It affects her ability to walk and talk, and she's fed through a machine. Caring for her has been a full-time job for her grandparents since she was a baby.
At the time I was self-employed. I'm not saying that I made a lot of money. I didn't. I paid bills and put bread on the table. Didn't have a chance to save anything, didn't earn enough money to save anything. But because of Ella's conditions, I had to give up work to take Ella on, along with me and my wife Julie. Truthfully, I've not looked back since.
They are among the many thousands of kinship carers in this country, looking after grandchildren or nieces and nephews. Because of Ella's condition, her grandparents do receive some financial support, but not as much as foster carers. Ella's medical needs mean household energy bills can be high.
Things have been difficult, just like everybody else. It's hard just living these days. If I want to have a haircut, I have to save for a week. Just put a few pence away each week so I've got enough money to go get a haircut. We work on a very tight budget regarding there's food, there's gas, there's electric. It ain't always about the money. I'd take Ella on without having a penny. It's about love. They need to know that they're safe, but it can be difficult, particularly with the finances.
For other kinship carers, the situation is worrying. The Kinship charity says 12% of the carers surveyed were concerned they might not be able to continue looking after a child.
There's a real risk that a lot of those children who are currently being cared for in kinship care could instead enter the local authority care system. We found that about 19,000 children potentially at risk of moving into local authority care because their kinship carers simply weren't getting the support they needed.
Clever girl. Yeah.
Alan volunteers on a kinship charity helpline, giving support to other carers. He knows some of them are at financial breaking point.
There's been some people that I've talked to, honestly, I could cry when I put phone down afterwards. I've had people crying when we've been on phone. It's not a fair system. It doesn't work. It's not working properly.
Alan says his family gets by, but his concern is for the other kinship carers, worrying how they'll cope this winter. Emma Glasby, BBC News.
Well, let's get some of the day's other news now. Around 3,000 people have been evacuated from their homes on the Spanish island of Tenerife as a precautionary measure because of a wildfire. The same fire burned thousands of hectares of land in the summer and has been revived by high temperatures and strong winds. Shares in Metrobank have plunged by around a quarter following reports it's urgently trying to raise up to £600 million. The bank was set up in 2010 and has around 2.5 million customers. Metrobank refused to comment on the figure and the urgency of the talks. And the latest round of NHS strikes come to an end today. Junior doctors and consultants have been taking part in joint industrial action since Monday. But it is the British Medical Association's longest ever period of combined strikes and the latest in the long-running dispute over pay. Now, in the past hour, the Norwegian writer Jon Fosse has been named the winner of this year's Nobel Prize for Literature. The Swedish Academy in Stockholm praised his innovative plays and prose. It said he gave voice to the unsayable. His works have been translated into numerous languages around the world. Next, one of Britain's legendary film producers, Jeremy Thomas, who is the genius behind such classics as the Oscar-winning films The Last Emperor, Sexy Beast and High Rise, has been getting a lot of attention. A film paying tribute to him has been opening up around the world, and in the US there has been a special retrospective tribute to him. From New York, Tom Brooks reports.
At age 74, Jeremy Thomas has reached that point in life where tributes are being paid. With more than 60 producing credits to his name, he's one of Britain's most prolific and well-liked independent producers. The erotic thriller Crash, the crime movie Sexy Beast, and the fantasy comedy drama Only Lovers Left Alive are all his films. One of his greatest producing triumphs was The Last Emperor, which in 1988 won 9 Oscars, including one for Thomas himself.
The Emperor is the loneliest boy on earth.
Coming from a successful filmmaking family, he's often given his backing to projects away from the mainstream.
The staggering story of the punk group that wrung the neck of rock and roll.
The 1980 mockumentary The Great Rock and Roll Swindle focused on the British punk rock band The Sex Pistols, directed by Julian Temple. It was one of Thomas's co-productions. Interestingly, nobody really knows what a film producer does. I asked Jeremy Thomas to explain.
I'm a sort of producer who's an entrepreneurial producer, likes the material, likes a subject, likes a director, and I'll option the book and I'll develop it myself with my own resources. And I've been like that from the beginning. And it's a way that you have to, you keep the control of your film until the last possible moment you give it away.
Can we dance together one time?
The documentary The Storms of Jeremy Thomas, directed by Mark Cousins, shows the producer driving down to the Cannes Film Festival, an annual ritual. He knows some of the most famous and powerful people in the movie industry, but he is not an intimidating figure. Directors and actors who work with him generally really like him. Among his disciples is Tilda Swinton, who gets quite gushy in her praise.
We're going to really go for it and describe Jeremy as some kind of manifestation, superhuman manifestation of cinema.
One job of a film producer is to handle movie stars. Sometimes they can be temperamental. It's part of Jeremy Thomas's job to calm things down.
I'm principally very good at dealing with people who need attention and help throughout making a film, which is very intense. And you have to be very forgiving of frailties of people under stress when you make films, or else it can be, and then the producer needs to keep the group like that for the best results, in my opinion.
This tribute to Jeremy Thomas in New York reminds us that he has worked with some of the world's greatest filmmakers, figures such as David Cronenberg, Bernardo Bertolucci, Stephen Frears and Nicholas Roeg, to mention just a few. Together with them, he has created some excellent, memorable cinema. But when it comes to the film industry today, Jeremy Thomas is somewhat melancholic.
I'm having great difficulty making films independently now. I'm trying to do it, but I can't say it's easy. It's very difficult, and I'm sure I will have to make films for others in the future if I want to continue making films.
Although Thomas may find it hard to make independent films now, he's had a very successful career. To him, the secret has been not to produce films because you want to make money, but because you believe in them.
I'm a film producer who hasn't followed the money. I followed my taste. And that gave off an impression to those that I work with, because it's my true nature. And somehow that became successful.
Thomas is most definitely a survivor, and many in the film industry would agree that British cinema has been all the richer for his prodigious contributions over the last 55 years. Tom Brooke, BBC News, New York.
And now it's time for a look at the weather. Here's Sarah Keith-Lucas. Hello. It's a bit of a mixed weather picture out there today. For some of us, we've had spells of warm sunshine around. This is the picture in Norfolk a little bit earlier on, but particularly further north and west, other areas haven't seen much blue sky. There's been a lot of cloud and outbreaks of rain as well. So here's the scene in Perth and Kinross. Now, over the next few days, we're going to keep that mix. So yes, some rain in the forecast, mainly in the north and northwest. But what we're all going to be noticing is temperatures are going to be rising as we head through the course of the weekend. Now, for the rest of today, then, some rain around for parts of Wales, northern England for a time. Some wet weather also across Scotland, which is pushing north. And overnight, we'll see more rain working into Northern Ireland, Northern England, Wales as well. Either side of that, some drier weather, but it's going to be a mild night, much milder than last night across parts of Scotland. Lows between about 10 to 15 degrees, more typical really of daytime highs for this time of year. Now, through the day tomorrow, we've still got this lingering front, so some rain for Northern Ireland, possibly southern Scotland, Northern England for a time. Again, either side of that, things are looking drier, a little bit brighter too. Bit of a cool northerly breeze for the Northern Isles, so 13 there for Lerwick, but up to about 23 for London and the southeast of England in that sunshine. Heading on into the weekend, we've still got this front, which is going to be sitting around on Saturday. It's going to be slow moving. Now, to the south of that, warm, humid air is drifting in from North Africa and Central Europe right up across the UK. So it's going to feel warm, it's going to feel humid, particularly for England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Much of Scotland, though, is sat underneath this weather front, so rainfall totals really mounting up here. To the south, temperatures up to about 25 or even 26 degrees, really well above average for this stage in October, but we're typically looking at around about 10 to 15 further north. And that situation continues into Sunday. We've still got the warm, humid air for many of us. This weather front will start to lift its way a little bit further north, I think, on Sunday. So perhaps not quite the persistent heavy rain across parts of Scotland. That'll drift up towards the Northern Isles. But for much of the UK, another dry day with some strong sunshine for this time of year. And we're seeing temperatures again into the mid-20s, possibly not quite as warm on Sunday compared to Saturday. But really, over the next 5 days or so, high pressure towards the south keeps things largely warm and dry for much of England and Wales. There will be some rain at times for Scotland and Northern Ireland, but temperatures are above